Sights, sounds, and information just for you from your friends at ASM.
Welcome to the turn of night.
During the early days of the pandemic lockdown, my personal life, like many others, seemed to have its moments of uncertainty. I know a lot of folks did what they could to get by, save, strive, and I'm sure in some cases survive. I was no exception in feeling the effects of this unknown course that each day brought in our new world. At a point of near panic, I advertised my services for a skill set that I had rarely spoken of or practiced publicly. While waiting for my professional life to balance out, I placed an ad that offered my services as a tarot reader. That's right. Beyond the history of the cards themselves and the mystery of dates, artists, symbols, and motives, I merely used them as a way of solving problems. I had a few responses, but one person in particular seemed to benefit from my logic-based divination. Once a month, I'd get a request and I'd send my readings to someone known as L. Taylor via online video. That is, after a deposit was made to my account, of course. My work had actually sorted itself out fairly early on, but I kept my side hustle as a reader. Before I knew it, a year and a half passed. By the fall of 2021, Taylor contacted me for an important reading. The lockdowns were over, so I asked him if he'd want to visit, as I'd been doing the odd reading in person. It was in fact the evening of the full moon, the harvest moon. He arrived and was dressed in a suit and tie. It occurred to me that most of his questions during our readings were pertaining to business and finance. Explaining to me that he had just wrapped up an important meeting, he took a seat at the table and I began to shuffle. The cards I selected were a version of a traditional Italian deck that I often used. I had never met Taylor in person before, but I noticed his haggard appearance despite his neat attire. Laying out the usual card spread, he began to sweat, so I offered him water. Finishing the reading, as I customarily did, was by laying out an additional 3-card spread. Checking his watch and peering at the window, I was putting down the 3 cards. The second card, as I casually pointed out, was the moon. Often thought of indicative of mystery, other interpretations see it as fear or illusion. Noting that tonight's full moon was indeed a coincidence, I continued on to the final card. In a split second before I could explain the possibility of abundance and wealth that the cards showed, he stood and in a low guttural voice apologized. Taylor's features contorted to near canine in appearance, and he bared his teeth. In a flash, I was gone and 2 doors over at the neighbor's. I'd heard a howl before I left, but I couldn't be sure. The authorities were called, not knowing what else to do. My place was trashed, but nothing major. The investigation turned over no clues even as to the whereabouts or existence of one L. Taylor. The monthly full moon since has kept me on my toes. I've heard stories, but nothing tangible. One snowy day in early December, a package was delivered to me. No return address. Upon opening, I found a large stack of bills along with a note that simply said, "Thanks for the readings. My venture was a howling success. Excuse the pun, L. Taylor." Well, my bank account, and more importantly, knowledge of the world has gotten much bigger. There's nothing left for me to do but try and enjoy the holidays, relax, and maybe throw some cards to see what else there is in store for me.
The lights are on as the evening shadows are creeping in. Hopefully, you won't get caught in the turn of night.